Hey, howdy ho everybody! This is Postmortem Nightshade, and thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. This is my first solo long-form video! Yay! I love doing the Ghastly Ghost Birds content, and don't you worry, you will still be getting plenty of that. But for my first solo video on the channel, I wanted to talk about the movies I watched in 2025 that specifically were released in 2025. So, we have officially reached the end of another year, if you can believe it, and so much has happened in the world of film. I actually got today's video idea from another creator on YouTube, Possessed by Horror. You've probably heard me talk about her before. I love her channel so much. She's such an inspiration, but watching her content actually gave me the idea, as I said, to rank all the movies that I've seen. And I did see all these in theaters too, except for, I think, only 2 that I missed. So I'll try to mention those to you so that you can figure out which ones I didn't actually see in the cinema. But over the year, I think I watched a total of about 175 movies, 56 of which were new film releases. So that's a lot of movies to rank. We're doing all 56 from bottom to best. So let's get started. For each film, I will try to give just my brief thoughts on the movie, but if you would like a longer explanation or a long-form video on any of the movies I talk about here, let me know in the comments, and I would be more than happy to oblige. Additionally, everything I say is just my thoughts on the movies I saw this year, but comment below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? What are your takes on the films of 2025? Starting at number 56, bottom of the barrel for me was Prom Queen. This was just not a good movie. This was one that I saw on streaming. I saw this on Netflix when it came out. This is not a good movie. Slasher or otherwise. It was boring. It was predictable. I just did not like it. Moving right along, number 55 is I Know What You Did Last Summer, the remake. I watched this on a recent plane ride, and it was miserable. I hated this movie. What a way to butcher a classic slasher franchise that I actually really enjoy. The original is a great 4th of July summer movie, but man, the remake is so buns. Jeezums, literally can't be overstated how much I disliked the remake. All right, number 54, Amateur. This movie just felt completely unoriginal, not so great acting, and all of the good action was shown in the trailer. What the heck is the deal with that? Just in general, very mid, forgettable. Number 53 is a movie that I saw on Shudder, so I guess I saw more than a few on streaming, but I watched Ash, which it was a cool attempt at a sci-fi movie. It had unique visuals, I loved the vibes, but the writing, the flow of the story, and the characters, it just felt really messy and all over the place. Number 52 is The Conjuring Last Rites. It hurts me to put The Conjuring so low because I actually really like the first 2 Conjurings. But this was such a lackluster end to a franchise that should have ended probably a few movies ago. However, the 2 leads, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, excelled in their roles. Just always a treat to watch them on screen. Number 51 is Until Dawn. This was a very loose, and I mean loose in all caps, adaptation of the game. And it was a very paint-by-numbers story, very unoriginal characters. Also, for me, it was just kind of forgettable. Number 50 is The Housemaid. Now, while this is based on a famous book, which I assume is better than the movie, because most of the time the books are better than the movies, the film adaptation, for me, left much to be desired. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and while I thought the story ended fine enough, the acting wasn't my favorite, and it was just not a very satisfying thriller, in my opinion. Number 49 is The Gorge, which I saw on Apple TV+, and while this movie had an intriguing premise, the visual effects were kind of wonky, and the payoff for the mystery just wasn't there. Number 48, another recent release, is Anaconda. So the entirety of this film, very comedic. It is all played for laughs, and unfortunately for me, that just didn't really work. I just felt like there wasn't really a lot of plot, and I only really chuckled a couple times, which is not good in my opinion for a comedy. Number 47, Eternity. While I can appreciate a heartfelt and sincere attempt at a rom-com, I just did not really connect with the characters in this movie, and the story being told just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't pop to me. The world building, though, is top-notch, exceptional, loved it. Number 46, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now that might ruffle some feathers, I know, but this is a movie that was supposed to be the last in the franchise, and man, this was just kind of a letdown. Of course, the plane scene was super cool, but this movie just was way too long, and the narrative really felt way too dragged out because of that. Number 45, Karate Kid Legends. This wasn't a bad requel, it was just fine, and that's why it's in the middle of the list. Number 44, Death of a Unicorn. A very interesting take on the unicorn mythos, but the characters felt very one-note and like archetypes rather than actual three-dimensional characters. The theme and messaging definitely hit you over the head, but there were a couple practical gore effects that I thought were done well, and I actually had a few chuckles at some of the jokes from the characters. Also, all of the cool CGI action scenes from the unicorns took place at night. I assume that was to save money in the effects department, but it just kind of felt like it was hard to see what was happening most of the time. Number 43 is Together. This was such a promising horror. I was so pumped for this movie. I heard about all the hype and I was just so excited to see what Together had to offer, and I just felt like the ending fell flat. They cut away a lot from the body horror elements, which I wasn't sure why they did that since this was hyped as a body horror. The messaging was also kind of interesting, but overall just a really big disappointment for me this year. 42, Jurassic World Rebirth. Oh my goodness, what a bland revitalization, quote unquote, of this franchise. It's just another mid-movie from this year. I don't really have a lot else to say. It just kind of was disappointing. Number 41 is The Monkey. Holy cannoli, this story was all over the place, and I don't actually remember any of the characters being very likable, plus the humor just did not work to me. I just felt like this movie was so off. Number 40, a January release all the way back 12 months ago, is Wolfman. I really actually liked the atmosphere of this and the unique look of the werewolf character. The Oregon setting, I believe this took place in Oregon, absolutely gorgeous. Stunning, beautiful scenery. I also liked the perspective that they took of seeing the transformation from the infected person's perspective, but besides that, it just felt like an average monster movie thriller, but I didn't hate it. Number 39 is One of Them Days. Now, I have mentioned before I don't love comedies, but I actually thought this one was super enjoyable. It wasn't super memorable, but I still would highly recommend it if you like comedies, and even if you don't, I think give this one a try, you might be surprised. Number 38, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. A decent entry into a decent franchise. I mean, what you see is what you get. And they don't change the formula, everything is pretty much the same. So if you like the previous two, you'll definitely like this one. 37 is Running Man. I actually did a review for this movie on my channel, so head on over there if you want to hear my full thoughts. I definitely break it down some more. Number 36 is The Roses. Now, I did miss this when it came out in theaters, but I got to watch it on Hulu in the last couple months. I thought the story was a perfectly fine family drama with some comedy sprinkled throughout that I actually did chuckle at. I just feel neither strongly nor against this movie, so just in the middle. Okay. Big warning, spoilers for my comments that I'm about to say for number 35. Okay, skip ahead now. Number 35, Clown in a Cornfield. Elon Musk being an evil clown mayor is just top tier for me. I don't need to say anything else. Number 34 is Captain America: Brave New World. Another Marvel movie that was just mid. Boy, it breaks my heart how far Marvel has fallen. Number 33 is a Minecraft movie, and never in a million years did I think I would rank a Minecraft movie over a Marvel movie, but here we are. The memeability was great. This movie definitely knew what it was and leaned into it. If you liked Napoleon Dynamite, this is from the same guy that did that, so it definitely knows what it is, hypes it up, and well, you know, it wasn't the most or greatest well-crafted movie. I still had a really good time watching it. Number 32 is Drop. This was, for me, one of the most satisfying thrillers of the year, and definitely one of Blumhouse's better entries, which is saying a lot for them lately. Number 31 is Final Destination: Bloodlines. I love this franchise. So fun, and this is just another fun entry into this series. However, I wish some of the effects were more practical in nature, kind of similar to earlier films in the series, but this movie was also an emotional and perfect send-off for the late, great Tony Todd. Number 30 is Thunderbolts. Definitely one of the better entries from Marvel in the last few years. It had a greater focus on emotional story beats and deeper characters, but it still was kind of mid. 29 is FNAF 2. Boy, I am a sucker. Hook, line, and sinker, anything for FNAF. But check out the video on my channel to hear more of my thoughts on this film. It definitely was a mixed bag for sure. Number 28 is Mickey 17. Boy, this is just a wacky, fun ride into space with characters that have stuck with me throughout the year, which is impressive. I will give that to Mickey 17. A definite fun ride. I think it's on streaming now, so check it out. Number 27, Hard Eyes, a surprisingly enjoyable slasher. with a great cast, and I will definitely be adding this to my holiday rewatch list for February. I will always take more holiday themed movies, and I'm just so glad that the cast really just knocked it out of the park. Even though this may be considered a typical slasher, I had a good time with it. Number 26 is Predator Badlands. While I did not enjoy this entry as much as Prey, this was still a fresh new take on the Predator mythos, and it kept me engaged throughout the entire runtime, which is pretty much all I can ask. I do have a video for this one too on my channel. Check it out if you're interested. Number 25, Companion. So this is my favorite recent take on the sentient android / AI robot plot, and I thought it put a modern spin on the ideas and also had a great cast that really elevated the material, so no notes. Number 24 is Predator Killer of Killers. What a great underrated animated movie of the year. Oh my goodness. This was one that went straight to streaming, unfortunately, so I only caught this on Hulu. But I loved the take on following different characters throughout time as they each fight a predator and win, and each story was so unique, taking place in completely different parts of the timeline. And the animation style was really great. I liked that a lot too. Number 23, Wicked for Good. While not as strong as part 1, the music is still great in the second half, and the performances from the 2 leads are still stellar, amazing. Number 22 is F1. Definitely an entertaining summer blockbuster that shows what can truly be achieved when creatives commit to the full art of filmmaking. This movie really allows you to feel like you are in the car with Brad Pitt, and these are the kind of movies that really make the summer blockbuster season. All right, we're getting down in the 20s here. Number 21 is Die My Love. I have a video about this. It was one of my earlier videos, but it is just an unforgettable story that has been imprinted on my brain ever since I watched it. The acting from Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson is absolutely incredible. This is not a movie I can soon forget, but I also will not be rewatching anytime soon. We are now on to the top 20 movies of the year. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, here we go. Number 20 is Novocaine. Maybe a surprise, but this was for me an underrated action movie that had really good practical gore effects and fight scenes that I can still recall this many months later, which is impressive. It's not too long, and while the story is basic, it was a solid good time at the theater for me. Plenty of action and gore, and it kept me fully entertained and engaged the entire time. Number 19, a movie I didn't even know was coming out. Of course, I only was able to see this on Netflix. K-pop Demon Hunters. A very surprising outing from Sony, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point from their animation department. It had great music, great animation, lovable, memorable characters. It was easy to see why this movie was such a pop culture juggernaut. Number 18 is One Battle After Another. So I know this was a lot of people's number 1 list I've seen online. So I did not enjoy this movie seemingly as much as everyone else did, but I can understand why it is so beloved. I thought this film had phenomenal performances. The entire cast did a phenomenal job. I also really enjoyed the cinematography, and I thought the story was super compelling. I also thought that Leonardo DiCaprio's performance had some surprisingly comedic moments. And number 17 is Begonia. I believe this was the second video I ever posted on my channel, so you can go check it out if you'd like. But this was an intense and heavy movie, but the performances are just top. Great performances, definitely some of the best of the year easily, and the cinematography was one for the record books for sure. The color grading was also particularly memorable for me. Number 16 is The Long Walk. Gutted. Just emotionally gutted. That's all I have to say. Number 15 is Superman. What a great return to form for the DC universe. I loved that it wasn't another Superman origin story. Please, please, James Gunn, do the same for Batman. I'm so tired of the Batman origin story. And this movie really just gave me hope for the future of the DC universe. That's really all I could ask from it. Number 14 is Ballerina. So, John Wick Chapter 4 is actually my favorite action movie of all time. That may be a hot take. I don't know. I really, really enjoy John Wick Chapter 4. But even with that high bar, I found Ballerina to be an underrated action gem. I had an excellent time. I thought all the action sequences were great. And honestly, good action, it's all I need from a John Wick universe movie. Number 13, Wake Up Dead Man. Such an emotionally moving yet entertaining murder mystery. Rian Johnson once again proved his great talent along with a cast who just knocked it out of the park. Number 12. I was able to see this on Shudder. I wasn't able to catch it in a theater near me, unfortunately. But number 12 is The Ugly Stepsister. Holy shit. If you have not seen this movie and you like movies like The Substance, I would highly recommend. This is a story of Cinderella, and it definitely leans into the Grimm's Brothers darkness fairy tale element of it, and they dialed that notch up to 10. This was insane. It just had crazy body horror, and a lot of the body horror I don't care to ever see again. Number 11 is Keeper. Well, Osgood Perkins, you went from being one of the most overrated directors in my opinion to one that actually greatly surprised me. I really loved the folk horror of this, and the atmosphere was so good. Oh my gosh, just loved it. Loved it. Highly recommend. If you are not as into Osgood Perkins as other people, maybe Keeper will change your mind. It did for me. Definitely enjoyed. Alrighty, folks, here we are, top 10. Are we ready? Here we go. Number 10 is Fantastic Four. Now, okay, don't throw tomatoes at me. If you had asked me at the beginning of the year if I thought that the new Fantastic Four movie would be at the top of my list, I would have said, no way. I watched Fantastic Four growing up. It didn't ever really appeal to me that much. But this movie, for me, is easily the best Marvel project since Endgame. Of course, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I love The Incredibles growing up. I rewatched that movie so many times. And I just felt like this was the live-action version of Incredibles. I thoroughly enjoyed the story, and the cast was just so good as each of the characters. The world building was great. I loved like the 60s retro vintage aesthetic. Just no notes for me. Absolutely loved it. Superhero movie that just I 100% enjoyed. And number 9 is 28 Years Later. What an insane comeback for the franchise. Such a unique film take, and the story was extremely moving. I cannot wait for Bone Temple. I will have my butt in the seat opening weekend, and I'll be bringing you my thoughts, don't you worry. And I plan to talk more about my experience actually with this franchise when that video comes out. I have a funny story. But my most memorable parts from this movie were Teletubbies, Night Sky, Zombie and Train, and Ralph Fiennes. If you've seen this movie, you probably know which parts I'm talking about. Alrighty, number 8 is Materialists. Now, I am absolutely 1000% convinced that I am the only person on this planet who not only enjoyed this movie, but also put it in their top 10. I really liked this movie. I loved the cinematography. I loved the grounded, slightly cynical approach they took with love while also trying to balance it with like positivity, which feels so true to real life. And it was just up and down and messy and just a beautiful movie that I am positive I'm the only one who enjoyed. But let me know, maybe there's other people out there like me who really liked Materialists. Okay, number 7 is Zootopia 2. I am so happy to say that. They came out swinging with this sequel. I enjoyed this one as much as the first, and that is the biggest compliment I can get. If you haven't seen Zootopia 2, please watch it. It's incredible. I love it. It's a great family film. It appeals to all ages. The storytelling, the characters, all of it, just amazing. Okay, number 6 is Bring Her Back. Damn. Another gut-wrenching, heart-tearing film. Just like The Long Walk, but like way more intense. There were so many times where I had to look away, but then I also couldn't look away because I didn't know what was going to happen next. The practical effects, the storytelling, the mystery, the characters, the performances in this film easily make it an all-time horror grade in my opinion. Alrighty, number 5, another horror is Weapons. I know, that's probably so basic, but there is this feeling that I chased when I watch scary movies. It is this deep, primal fear feeling like I get when I'm on a roller coaster where like my heart's pounding and my stomach drops, and I've actually only felt it 3 times in a horror movie. Once in Oddity with there's this scene with like a jump scare in a tent, and it freaked me out so bad. Once in Mads, there's like one of the characters is like crawling down a hallway on all 4s. Freaked me out. I got that feeling. And then once again in Weapons, I chased that feeling, and it was so great to experience it in the theater. The marketing for this film was great. The performances were amazing. The villain is perfection, and the scares were just top-notch for me. Top-notch. Any horror movie that can ignite that primal fear for me holds a very special place in my heart. So thank you, Weapons, and I am very happy to have put you at number 5. Moving right along, I talked about this movie. It was the first video I ever made on my channel, and it is Frankenstein. Boy, Guillermo del Toro now has got to be one of my favorite directors working today. His range and vision I just adore. Frankenstein is easily one of my favorite gothic or horror movies of all time. I will try not to repeat myself because I know I talked about this before, but the colors, themes, characters, casting, acting, world building, gore, effects, everything is just chef's kiss. I loved this movie. Alrighty, and folks, we have made it to my top 3 of the year. So, number 3 is Good Fortune. This is easily my biggest surprise of the year, and it's probably why it made it to my top 3. As I mentioned earlier in this video, not the biggest fan of comedies, so I went into this movie with average, maybe even below average expectation, and boy, this movie blew my socks off. I thought it was funny, relatable, and relevant. All 3 leads made me laugh several times, and I have not stopped quoting this movie since I saw it, which is high praise for me. And it was just as good on rewatch, so 10 out of 10 from me, no notes. Number 2 is one that was very popular this year. Easily, for me, number 2 is Sinners. Obviously, one of the best movies of the year, hands down. I have nothing new to add to the conversation that hasn't already been said, so I'll just say I will be watching the release schedules for Ryan Coogler's latest projects very, very closely in the future. This is definitely a must-see movie for any movie, history, music fan. It's just great. Alrighty, and my number 1 is probably no one else's number 1 on the planet, except for me. So, my number 1 for the year is Black Bag. This is one of my favorite all-time thrillers. I love the relationship element combined with the spy drama. Also, I am a huge sucker for anything Cate Blanchett does, and she absolutely did not disappoint in this film. A very highly underrated thriller, underrated movie from 2025 that I was just fully enthralled with, and I haven't forgot about it since I saw it at the beginning of the year. So, alrighty. There you have it. That is my breakdown of all the 2025 releases that I saw this year. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Maybe I gave you some ideas for movies that when I talked about them, maybe you could be interested. Come back. Let me know after you watch them. What did you think? And I just so appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to listen to me talk about my films that I really enjoyed or didn't enjoy from 2025. And a happy 2026 to all. And if you'd like to follow along on my movie review journey, please like, subscribe, and follow. And I will see y'all very soon.